Well, as we told you at the top, this continues to be a campaign for and about Donald Trump. In his latest statement tonight, Donald Trump compared his views on abortion to those of Ronald Reagan's. Well, let's bring in somebody who knows a lot about Ronald Reagan's positions. It's Reagan biographer Craig Shirley. How does Trump compare? There are more similarities than you think. All of that is coming up in just a minute. We'll be right back. Well, as the 2016 GOP race morphs into what is essentially becoming a referendum on Trump, both in the Republican primary and, frankly, the way the Democrats are trying to set up a general election campaign against him, there are those who say the strikes made against the Republican frontrunner mirror those made against Ronald Reagan as he sought his party's nomination in 1976. In fact, these are comments that were made by then Congressman Pete McCloskey, who said a Reagan win would mean, quote, disaster for the GOP. And Congressman James Cleveland at the time predicted another, quote, Goldwater debacle if Reagan is the GOP's nominee. And then there was Senator Chuck Percy, an Illinois Republican, who said, quote, a Reagan nomination and the crushing defeat likely to follow could be the beginning of the end of our party as an effective force in American life. Wow. Very familiar words, no? Well, we soon saw Reagan prove all of those naysayers wrong. Could Trump ever do the same thing? Are the comparisons fair? Reagan biographer and presidential historian Craig Shirley joins me now. He's also the author of the latest book on Reagan called Reagan's Revolution. Mr. Shirley, you have been somebody who has been very hesitant and cautious about dumping on what Trump's been doing. You've been cautious from the beginning on various ways. Cautious on the Trump himself trying to compare himself to Reagan, and then cautious on the way others have treated Trump. What say you in this comparison?
Well, I would say that there's a similarity in terms of dynamics and institutions and how institutions react to outside threats. The institution of the Republican Party, Washington, media, what have you, reacted very, very violently in some ways, or at least very aggressively, to Ronald Reagan in 1976 and 1980. And in similar fashion, they reacted the same way to Donald Trump. I would never compare the two individuals, as that there's worlds of difference between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump in terms of the character of the men, the behavior of the men, the anger, the attitude towards women. Reagan, was believed in the sun was always rising. He believed in an optimistic future. I'm not sure that that's the same about Donald Trump. But it is fascinating to see history not necessarily repeating itself, but there are similarities that make it very interesting.
You know, when you hear Trump on abortion, what Ted Cruz has criticized him for is saying he's such a new convert to the pro-life movement that he doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair. Is that Reagan was also a convert to the movement, but when he left office, he did something very significant when he left office. First of all, he wrote a very important treatise, Abortion and the Conscience of the Nation, which was a very important paper as President of the United States on abortion. And he said that when he left office, he regretted that he didn't do two things. One was control federal spending more and do more to prevent or slow down or stop abortions in America. So, but he, like a lot of people, is that the Republican Party actually had in its plank in 76 was silent on the issue of abortion. It was only until 1980 when they put anti-abortion language in the platform.
When you look, let's move to the contested convention issue. Because I incorrectly ID'd you as somebody who was a player then. You have just simply probably written the best account of that 76 campaign between Ford and Reagan. So you know all the players inside.
Yes.
Are we making a mistake trying to even look back at 76 as some sort of historical comparison? I kind of think that part of me thinks, actually, you got to almost throw that out because we live in a whole new world.
Yeah, we do live in a whole new world. And yet, as George Santayana said, those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it. And so there are similarities. I wouldn't say that it's more like a guideline than there are hard and fast rules. But 76, you got to understand, we all understand the difference between contested conventions and brokered convention. 76 was a contested convention. Sure. This convention is going to be obviously contested. Whether or not it's going to be brokered, we don't know.
Walk through. When you say brokered, you mean suddenly
trading votes. I mean trading votes. I mean like Henry Clay trading votes to John Quincy Adams in order to become Secretary of State, or a brokered convention as in '52 with between Dewey and Eisenhower. There wasn't any vote trading in '76. May be in 2016, but it's certainly going to be a contested convention, just simply because of the presence of three candidates all vying for the nomination.
All right, Craig Shirley, I'm going to leave it there. But you're going to become a very popular man in the next couple of months because of your knowledge of that '76 convention. Anyway, Mr. Shirley,
thank you.
Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.